Well, hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ. I am your host, DBJ. I don't quite have a. Um, I'm trying to create a new, interesting intro video. Haven't finished it yet, sorry about the rather little boring intro to the show. And I normally don't do housekeeping up front, but I'd like to do so just before we get into it. Um, just to give an insight into what's going on with the channel. So today, after we do the housekeeping, we're going to talk about Dark Matter, a television series aired in 2015 on the Sci-Fi channel. Two Y's in Sci-Fi, and again, we are talking about some science fiction television shows and movies, mostly television, that we may decide that the execution wasn't really there, or in a lot of these television shows most people haven't really seen and isn't talked about in our community, in the geekosphere, which is good for us because we are talking about concepts, high concepts, and speculative fiction that when we run out of ideas, what can we pull from? And a lot of times some of the greatest things we can pull from are great high concepts and even terrible execution. So we're not here to discuss the quality of the shows. We're really here to talk about the concepts of many of these shows and movies, and break them apart a little bit and find out like what can we use for our tabletop role-playing experiences. But excuse me, um, the house cleaning part is two steps. One, I am a contributing designer for a current Kickstarter called Cool Name Goes Here. And Cool Name Goes Here is a, let's see, cool, not, there we go. Cool Name Goes Here is a community uh, given role-playing game and be completely free with artwork, rules, all the whole nine yards. And I am one of the contributing writers to it. And one of the what I dare say to pat myself on the back, and I'm going to show you the opening page and then give you the place a link to this uh, in the chat. We are coming about doing very public, not just play testing, but analysis. So behind the scenes, many of us contributing designers have been doing our part to uh, bring the game about, the rules and such. And one of the things that I have been able to promote in this game is this idea that um, every situation can be applied to with just a few hit points and a difficulty score. Now, that's not exactly the way it's described in the game, but very simplistically, nearly every problem can be solved with a few hit points and a difficulty score against your character's capabilities. And that has been translated into the game in a number of ways. You want to punch the ogre in the throat. You have what normally has been considered in other role-playing games, an armor class and hit points. But you want to pick the lock, same thing. You want to convince the guard to let you in, same thing. You want to rally the troops and keep them from running away, even though they're scared of the hordes of undead, same thing. And so um, as far as the consulting designers, I'm very happy that they embrace this idea because I come from my niche is exploration and social encounters and montages and flashbacks and things like that. We often have, once combat stops, we start using other mechanisms to describe how gameplay is done. And I was like, why don't we just use the exact same rules? And it was a breath of fresh air for them, and I'm glad they embraced it. So we're really going to try to push this and try to get other designers in to get their opinions, although they won't be designing the game. We want people to be aware that this game is coming to fruition and to have individuals be part of it. So yes, it's called Cool Name Goes Here. Mechanical Muse is the YouTube channel. Once a week ish, there's about a half hour, 45-minute state of the game, and I'm glad we've been part of it. That's the first part. Got to get that out of the way. Yeah. House cleaning means banning trolls like me. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, N King says the Sci-Fi Channel was my avenue to watch the Hulk TV show once upon a time. I like the Hulk TV show. I have the TV series on a DVD. Hey, you young folks don't know about that. Yeah. Maybe if they sorry, I will read a comment here by Shice, member of the Shice Squad. Good morning, all. Thank you very much for being here. Okay, the second part, the second part of house cleaning is the tonight after this show airs, because this is airing at 6 a.m. Tonight I'm going to be on Table Talk with Heath from the Geekverse. So today is this evening is the launch party for uh, Douglas A. Burton's Heroine's Journey. So, Heroine's Journey book. And I mean Labyrinth. Wow, why Labyrinth book. And up there it is. Sorry, I'm just trying to share this. I should have brought this up earlier. So the launch party is happening, and I will be in a live stream with a number of other individuals talking about um, talking about this book. And I'm very happy to be a part of this book because had a number of interviews with the writer of the book and Heath's Geekverse, and there's going to be an acknowledgement acknowledging me and myself with this book. So I'm happy to be part of it. I do feel that this runs in parallel to the hero's journey in terms of writing and literature, and I feel that it's going to have a far wider impact um, on writing and creativity and literature because those who are playwrights and want to make movie scripts and graphic novels and things like that, I feel like the heroine's labyrinth, the journey in the labyrinth, run parallel to each other because when the hero leaves, we often have um, dangers for those left behind, and I feel that's like the danger at home and the danger abroad have these parallel stories happen. The movie 300 comes to mind, where our main character leaves with the 300, and his wife is left behind. They both have a story to tell. Many times, a our hero returns from a long journey to come back home and not recognize home, and must navigate the labyrinth of the new social structure when he gets back home. And so the heroine's labyrinth is that type of story structure, in my opinion. So glad this book can come out. I think it's more important than people give it realize it. And those who are very interested in story structure and are want to become novelists and playwrights and write scripts for television shows and movies and graphic novels and so on and so forth, and even role-playing games, I think would benefit from the knowledge in this book. And there's a bit of an aha to it. So glad glad I could share this. So thank you very much there, guys. Thank you. Let's get into dark matter. Hey, Drew. Yeah, Drew and I, we tend to bump heads a bit when we tune into Heath from Geeksburg. So there is a link to the channel that will be let's see if I can find the link. Um, see if I can find the link to uh so I can share it out. Mm-mm-mm. Just so you guys, if anybody wants to join in. There we go. Here's the link. Copy link address, and then place it here. Bam. And Bam. All right. Thank you very much for allowing me to do this. All right. So, dark matter. So, dark matter is this is according to Wikipedia. Is a science fiction television series that premiered in 2015, developed by Prodigy Pictures in association with the Space Channel and the Sci-Fi Channel. Now, this again is another one of these relatively, just because of television, low budget series with a bunch of very beautiful demi-Canadian actors and actresses, and which I don't have a problem with that. I know I feel like I'm poking with America's hat here, our stateside hat, but I'm not. It's just that when you're a fan of like science fiction and stuff, you're just like craving to be have your mind stimulated, and it just happens to be the thing that's like, hey, someone's like, I've got $50, let's make a TV show. Mind you, the quality is much better than $50, but I pick. But anyway, the premise is a group of people in stasis pods awaken aboard the starship Raza. They have no memories of who they are or their lives before awakening, so they assume the names 1 through 6 in the order in which they left stasis and set about trying to uncover their identities and what happened to them. Also on board is a female-looking android who has a wireless neural link to the ship. We love ourselves some humanoid actors that portray starships. I'm looking at you, Farscape, and there's a couple of other ones. Andromeda series as well. There, having the hologram, the android, the actor or actress that portrays the ship. Pretty cool stuff there. Very interesting. Would be interesting to role play a starship, or at least the humanoid facsimile that's connected to one. I think it's far easier to do in a role playing game than we think it is. So anyway, at the end of the pilot's episode, the crew discovered that they are a band of mercenaries who are among the worst criminals in the galaxy, leaving them with the dilemma of continuing their original selves' violent path or seeking redemption. Their lives are frequently complicated by secrets from their forgotten past. And that concept, again, we're talking about concepts, not necessarily the execution. The concept of dark matter, and this is a little bit of a thematic through line as we've been talking about some of these shows, like yesterday where we're talking about the special snowflake shows, the special individual that is dropped into a normal world. This is a little bit similar to that, and I think in a role-playing game, and I've done this, I've actually done this in role-playing games, in the sense of, hey, let's make 30% player characters and figure out our characters as we go along, including, I love the idea of, and this is a great idea to steal from, to begin a role-playing game. Hey, your names don't come up with these extremely unique names. You woke up first. You've done your first intro of what your character looks like. You don't even know your background. You barely have an idea of what your capabilities are. You wake up. What's your name? My name is going to be number 1. Second character. What's your intro story? I'm going to be number 2. And what a great start, because now the mystery is not only collectively, again, having instead of starting in the tavern, everyone's connected together. Hey, we all woke up from stasis pods, and we don't know why we're here on a starship, let alone our skills and even our names. So we're just going to go by 1, 2, 3, 4. And you could, mind you, you don't have to use the exact numbers, but we can play with this, right? We can do the whole, hey, my we're going to use alpha, beta, gamma, epsilon, rho, pi. We can do, hey, my name is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We can do stateside cities and states. Hey, my name is Indiana. My name is Carolina. My name is Burgersville or something. Like, you could pick just different cities, states, regions. My name is April. My name is June. Hey, I'm going to be November. We can use call signs from military. Hey, I'm going to be Echo. I'm going to be Charlie. And starting out that way, there's even a little, just by having a designation instead of a name wraps each player character in a it's a mystery wrapped in an enigma wrapped inside of like a maze, right? And I think it would be very cool to allow our player characters to like um, hold on to the mystery of who they are. Now, Deadman says, I found a new show for me. Okay. Beacon 23, a series on MGM Plus, can also be found on Amazon Video. It's about a beacon in space warning about hazardous areas in space and an individual sent to investigate it. Excellent premise. Right. And now I'm not saying I'm not going to watch it. I'm saying that premise itself, mysterious beacon, send someone to go investigate what's going on. Now, beacon could be mystery, beacon could be warning, the proverbial quarantine, don't go past this point, everyone. And sometimes that's pretty interesting, right? Like, because we know our main characters, our player characters are the stars of our show. Yeah, we could be Mr. Pink and Mr. Blonde. I was going to go there. I was wondering if one of you guys would pick that up, have a big argument about tipping. I don't tip, which is some great dialogue. And a little bit of character building amongst our portrayal of our villains in that in Reservoir Dogs. But yeah, Mr. Pink and Mr. Blonde, which to their credit, even they broke their own rules, because I was like, why don't you just go Roy G. Biv? Like, why make it complicated? Pink and blonde? Like, why not just go, okay, you're orange, you're indigo. Yeah, Shai says, the mystery of who you are. Speaking of which, ever heard of this live action animation mixed movie called The Congress with Robin Wright? I have seen that. Really weird. Very, very weird. Reminds me a bit of, there's a Keanu Reeves movie that has a similar esoteric flavor to it, and there's a animated James Bond, Daniel Craig movie that's similar to that as well, that both of which I cannot remember the name of, and both of which are science fiction, like The Congress. Yeah, The Congress is really weird. It's way out there, but part of my brain loves the movie, and the other part of my brain is like still like, I don't understand what the hell happened. Because if you just look up clips from The Congress, it's live action animation, and it's different types of animation and such. Yeah. And Robin Wright's a great actress. Oh, she totally embraces the absurdity of the movie. Oh, absolutely embraces it. Yeah. It starts to flow from live action into in bits and pieces. Yeah. Anon says the color argument is exactly the sort of argument which would happen in a Tarantino movie. Right. Exactly. That's exactly right. Like, if it made sense, there wouldn't be a conversation about it. Why do I have to be Mr. Pink? Anyway, dark matter. So just listen, we have conflict, right? Like, we're joking around with each other, but just picking names. Pick your random gaming group, start the game out and say, hey guys, here are random stats. Place your stats where you want. Here are some beginning skills. Here, the freebie points, the extra parts to make up your character. Don't even write anything down. If you want to have lock picking skills or stealth, or you're an expert with blades, or you know how to hack or something, don't even write that down on your character sheet yet. Like, here's 13 points. Assign them as we play. And oh, by the way, here are a list of names you're going to pick for your characters. Like I said, January, November, June, Echo, Epsilon, Beta, whatever the case might be, whatever nomenclature you're going to use, structure. We already have conflict, because I guarantee you're going to have players who are going to want to fight over a particular name, or don't want to be left with that other name at the end that's just like, I don't want to be Mr. Pink. Right? You're going to get that kind of thing. And I like that the meta drama of it because There's it's like the role playing game Dread that's based on the Jenga tower, which I have one above my head. Um, uh, like the building block Jenga tower, where we know that our characters in the game aren't literally pulling bricks out of a tower, but the two blend together with the meta drama, and I like that. So now that we know what our characters' names are, 1 through 6, and they wake up from these stasis chambers, they need to figure out why they are there. And a trope amongst this is a negative trope amongst the tabletop role playing community is mystery Enigma who loves wearing the cloak, sitting in the corner, and this is the player character who loves to be Mr. Mick Enigma, sitting there going like, my character is mysterious, and I have a mysterious past, and you're not allowed to know about my mysterious past, and I might backstab you. You don't know. I'm mysterious and stuff. And we tend to roll our eyes at that person because um they that player is trying to make a big deal about the fact that they have a secret that no one else knows. And oftentimes it's either done with a malice, meaning like their only purpose in the game is not really to play the game. Their purposes in the game is to do a gotcha for every other player. They're meta gaming everyone else, and they want to be the center of attention. And they keep drawing themselves to the center of attention, going, I'm mysterious. Don't you want to know why I'm mysterious? And then everyone's like, yeah, we want to know why. Well, I'm not going to tell you, and then we after the third time, you're just like, okay, I get it. You have a mysterious past. But dark matter actually embraces this. So characters who do have emo Strider, I sit in the corner. Yeah, but you're the fifth player in the game. I sit in the fifth corner with my. I don't want anyone sitting because I have my back to the wall, right? Okay, all five of you. I guess you're all sitting in the tavern, right? Yeah, it's that kind of player. But to be honest, sorry if you're trying to play a role playing game and you want to embrace the mystery, like embracing the evil campaign. And there are plenty of role playing games that embrace the evil campaign, but we're talking about the mystery character. It is one of the things where the idea that each character has a mystery that gets revealed as the show goes on, and we can tie in the mystery of the characters to elements in the game. And I like the idea of that. Like Deadman says, 3 of the 6 were not criminals, even though the premise does say that. And you are correct that 3 of them actually technically weren't criminals. One was the son of an oligarch, which is number 4. One was the daughter of the owners of a mega corporation, number 5. And one was an interstellar security operative, number 6. Yep. And if I'm not mistaken, um, as each character awakens, we get a ton of flashbacks for backstory. And if I'm not mistaken, a number of the characters have actually crossed paths in some manner through family relations, corporations, politics, and things like that. That they actually crossed paths. Like one person may have worked for someone else's family, and they knew it, but didn't realize it. And also, all the characters waking up without a memory. Many of them had prior personalities, a la Total Recall, that in their current context, their past is kind of alien to themselves. So, for example, an example of this is really, which might be kind of cool, is each player begins playing their character, and each player says, "You know what? I'm developing my own character's personality. I like to be outspoken. I like to play bardic like characters." And then you slide them their backstory, or there's random chunks of backstory, and you slide them each one, and they pick one. He's like, "Here's 3 backstories. Pick one," and they turn it over, and they go, "Wait a minute, Mike. I'm playing a character that's outspoken and bardic like and charismatic and artistic or intimidating." And I read my character sheet, and it's like I was a introspective, person that stayed at home and worked a menial job and stuff. Wait a minute, that doesn't match with my current personality. And this is a perfect excuse to have a character that has personality traits that don't match with their background, which would make, which would bring up, do I want to embrace my background? Knowing that I, you know, as Dead Man put up, that I was, you know, son of an oligarch or daughter of a owner of a mega corporation, or am I a badass martial artist now, or a um, uh, instead of being an interstellar operative catching criminals, am I embracing the criminal side of me, even though in my background I became a bounty hunter to stop criminals because a criminal murdered my sibling or something like that. And so getting the opposition of current day versus past is also cool. Another thing that dark matter, and going backwards with our broadcast here about the special snowflake, the one individual that's different and more special, better, more special than everyone else in dark matter, is creating stories where every time they encounter something, or the vast majority of the time they encounter things, um, triggers one or more of the player characters. An example would be, maybe there are, in this particular show, they awaken in stasis pods on a starship, Raza. So they basically awaken in a dungeon. Starships, space habitats, those kind of things, even some planetary locations like small moons, asteroids, things of that nature. They're dungeons. Now, we in the sci-fi community may not like to think of them as dungeons, but it's basically a limited liminal space. We have a bounded location, we have bounded rooms, and our characters get to learn where they can go and what they can do in that limited space. So being trapped on a starship, no matter if it's the size of a moon, they are trapped there. And so now we have a limited space. So now players can't just bebop around in what they can do. They have to navigate their location. So tying this into characters' backstories, let's say, I don't know, killer, you wake up in a limited liminal space. Yep. Liminal meaning like the space doesn't necessarily need to be limited to physical space. So the space, um much, we talked about The Prisoner, where our main character was an ex-operative that's trapped in a utopian, um he's still trapped, but it's a utopian space. So I'm thinking of a liminal space, meaning the space doesn't need to look and act like a dungeon. It's just a place that the characters can't leave, but it could be very interesting. A dreamscape, a VR world, a um heck, a solar system the players can never leave, is still limiting that space, even though technically they have free reign within it. Like, for example, um, we as human beings are limited in leaving Earth, and the player characters. Listen, we have players, and players love bumping against the outer reaches of their map, and to tell players, oh, you can't leave your solar system, even though there's starships and maybe maybe limited space warping and stuff. Players are going to push against the boundaries of that, and get them to act accordingly. Yeah, this is like that 90s movie about that housewife with amnesia. Long Kiss Goodnight is an excellent, it's a cult classic. It's an excellent Gina Davis movie with Samuel L. Jackson, who has some amazing one-liners in it and stuff. He's an amazing um uh horrible b- intro character to a character who has some horrible um personality traits, but we learn to love him. It's The Long Kiss Goodnight. Great, great movie. And yes, it is a, I have amnesia, I wake up, hey, I'm a badass assassin, right? So playing with amnesia is really great. Of course, uh discovering elements of amnesia and bringing them to light. I think one way to do this in a role-playing game would be to open up or activate a special trait on your character. You must tie it to a memory, a lost memory. So an example would be, I want my character to have 3 points of, you know, blaster fire for my character, and I want to be able to shoot blasters because we opened up a locked cabinet and there's some weaponry in there, and I want my character to have weaponry skill. And you go, okay, so put 3 points down, but explain to me from a backstory where we see you using your skill with a blaster weapon, and the person's like, I have a background, so I awaken, my ears ringing when an explosion goes off. I reach over and grab my blaster rifle. It's um, it has electrical tape wrapped around it. It's well used. It's battle scarred. The chrome and the silver has been rubbed off. Now it's just matte black, and everything. Hanging from it is a fob given to me from one of my dead companions. I look around, you know, power armor blasted to smithereens. I'm one of the few that's left there, and I pick it up and I start blasting the enemy robots or something. And they're like, great, cool. And then, as the game master, maybe I go, maybe those robots show up on this ship, you know, and then start tying in, oh, that's your backstory. Great. I'm going to put that into the game. And great, you just gave us killer robots, right? Maybe another character who is, you know, the daughter of the mega person that owns the mega corporation. Maybe those killer robots are brand new in a starship, try to go after PCs, and guess what's emblazoned on their chests? A symbol of the mega corporation, right? And so we could start keep it, and this might be a back and forth with player, game master, and I would love to do something like that for Dark Matter in a tabletop role-playing game. Also, our characters wake up on a starship. Now, our characters can wake up anywhere. Why they lost their memory, where they're at. Did they wake up in stasis chambers in a starship? Did they wake up from escape pods, escaping some cataclysmic event, you know, an exploding habitat that was falling into re-entry? They wake up just to see the thing enter there. Do they wake up on the shore, distant shore of an alien world? Do they wake up after 200 years from, I don't know, a bunker to protect them from the orbital strikes, and now they wake up and walk along the world? Do they wake up from alien chambers? They've been kidnapped by alien species. Maybe they've been kidnapped by those alien species, but they're on Earth and they're human. Or maybe the characters wake up and they're not humanoid at all, or some mixture thereof. So wherever they wake up at, we get to spiral out our world building. Are they on Earth? Does it just happen to look like Earth, but it's a giant domed city sitting on an alien world, and they just made a copy of it to watch human beings as in a petri dish? Was it that the crew, everyone was the crew of a starship, and they passed through some kind of strange radiation? Now, if I'm not mistaken, and this is either Dark Matter or another television show similar to it, but the fact that it's similar makes my point. When we get a backstory of the characters, why did they go on this distant trip? Why were they in the stasis in the first place? Did they choose to be there? And if I'm not mistaken, in Dark Matter, many of the characters were in dire straits when they were on Earth. So we get a flashback to situations where they were pushed to the breaking point, and they were enticed to go on a journey to populate another world or do whatever, and the characters are looking at themselves like, I have no other choice. My life is a shambles. I don't like the people I'm around. I don't want to be on Earth any longer, or wherever they're at. I want to get on this ship and go to Alpha Centauri, so I'm going to put myself in stasis and leave. And each person's backstory reveals to them the decision that made them go, you know what, I really don't want to be here any longer, and I've hurt people, or I'm a criminal or something like that. I'm going to put myself into stasis and leave my life behind, unresolved, and take my unresolved issues with me and go into the future. Now, below, in the ticker below, talking about making a role-playing game that has different issues, much like I talked about Cool Name Goes Here, in the role-playing game that I'm developing, Yeah, if the character wakes up, do they become woke? It would be pretty horrible for the character to wake up, but then they used to be woke, but they're not. They're like, wait, what? Although strange how humans take words and turn them negative, because the opposite is kind of horrible. Like, oh, you're just woke, and I'm like, why would being asleep sound like a good thing? It's very strange. Just like, remember, social justice warrior was just like, you're a social justice warrior, you're terrible, and I'm going, would would it be better if you were like antisocial, um what's the opposite of justice, antisocial, criminal, coward? Right, like, what's the opposite of that? That's, if that's terrible, what's the opposite? So it's pretty funny how people, we love, we have the unique ability to take positive things and go, "Pff, you feed the homeless. Pff, you're one of those people. Huh, pff, oh, you make great food. You're like a great cook. Ugh. Wow, you're like a maestro in the kitchen. I can't believe you. Look at you, making, filling my stomach up and giving me mouth joy. Yeah, that thing, that hole in my face, you put food in it, and it there's like a party in my mouth. You're all invited. Anyway, but yeah, turning, see, I turned a positive thing into something negative. Special ability. How the hell did you get called in this? Oh, back in the old days, back in the mid 2000s. Yeah, oh yeah, plenty of times. And I was just like, really? I don't really care. um, like labels, I should have got like a patch made or something like that. So yes, lords. I was said that many times. Dark matter. Hard segue back. Um, some other great things about dark matter that I love. Do they call that dichotomous thinking or something? There is a term for it. I'm just not sure. Yeah, uh, my words escape me. So, something else we can take for our tabletop role playing experience is revealing the physical world to our player characters and have them overcome the issues in it, which then tells us as the game master what the players want to see. So, like loot drops in video games, when we start dropping loot around, weapons, equipment, um, clothing, uh, uh, tools, things like that, as each player starts to gather some of those things together, we can see some of the personalities come out with our players. Oh, someone's collecting a lot of color coded key cards that allow them to open and close doors, or get them into pass cards, allow them to open and close computer files. Maybe somebody else is like, "Ooh, is that a third blaster rifle? I'm going to throw that over my shoulder." Oh, I guess this person wants to shoot things. Somebody else is like, "Hey, I found some, I don't know, devices that go on your wrist and allows us to navigate. So I want to be able to use languages and navigate and analyze and X-ray things. And oh, you want to be like the scientist character, okay? And maybe the players, even amongst themselves, meta-wise, which is a good thing, they talk amongst themselves. Hey guys, I want to pick. Hey, we're in the science lab. Do you guys mind if I start? I'm the primary that picks up some of the science stuff. I love chemicals and things. And in real life, like I work at a chemist plant, and I go, "Oh yeah, you be the chemical person, you be the science person. Great, okay. I'm going to grab the X-ray goggles and put them around my neck. Great, okay, you've got that." And doing that might reveal, and of course, using statistics, mechanical statistics, write down science on your character sheet and put a +5 on it. Oh, cool. Write it down. And start building our characters as we adventure. Also, again, this is a storytelling element. Um, Actions, what is it? Reward actions you want to see, and don't reward actions you don't want to see. So when players are telling you as a game master, we want to see robots, we want to see mysteries, we want to unravel the mystery, we want to um, break into areas, we want to analyze xenochemicals, we want to do those things, then throw more of that into the game. Oh, you go down the hallway and there's a weird pinkish goo dripping from the ceiling. Great, I'm going to go over and analyze it. This is the third time I've analyzed something. I'm going to keep a little bit in my pocket and put it in a little I don't know, ceramic tube or whatever. And you're going, great, this is what they like. I'm going to have it, I'm going to tell more stories. Hey, when you turn the corner, that pink fluid that you put into the glass vial, it starts bouncing around in it like it wants to get away. You're like, oh, maybe it senses some danger, or it's sensing it's a chunk of the, I don't know, a bigger monster or something, and it can tell us when we're next to it, or it's about to come after us or something, right? And it's like, oh, it's jumping away from the floor, it's trying to go to reach the ceiling, and the PC's like, that means it's below us or it's above us or whatever, right? And you might reveal some traits in this starship, the starship Raza. Now, the starship could be pretty huge, like I said, size of a small moon or asteroid or planetoid or something. So we could have areas like massive jungles or VR rooms or residential spaces that can hold tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. It might be like a giant sized arcology or something, or a rogue planet. So if we don't want it to be a starship and we go, man, there's not too many unique places in here, we could have some fun with it. And let's remember, if something happened that make them lose their memories, maybe there's other things that happened on the starship. Is the starship out of control and part of it is exposed to the void of space? Has the starship collided with something, another ship? Was the starship boarded and is in connection with another starship, and the crew of that starship was infected with a virus that made people lose their memories or something? Maybe there's an alien craft that the starship is inside of, and the PCs at the end of the season of the game, when they finally are able to see outside the starship, they realize they're, damn, we're literally inside of another starship. Like a stacking doll or whatever, Russian stacking doll. The N King says the badass assassin alpha commando of the group discovers that they used to be the janitor and potato peeler of the ship. Yep. Yep. Exactly. Hey, what did you used to be? Badass assassin is, I don't want to talk about it. Fold arms, pout. Well, that badge you have on your shoulder, that's not a sword piercing a heart. That's a potato peeling knife piercing a potato. You fooled us. Well, at least I make a good meal. Well, that is true. Right? Which would be pretty hilarious. It's like, hey, I'm really good with blades. Maybe I'm an assassin. No, you're actually just a really good chef. Although that trope has been played for before. I'm looking at you, Steven Seagal. What was it? Under Siege or Under Siege 2, dark something. I don't, whatever. But anyway, yeah, there's it would be pretty funny for characters to, like, the PCs, your players are like, oh, I made this great backstory, and then or I came up with this great scenario for my character, but when their backstory is revealed, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. What is it? Red Dwarf. It's like, hey, I was the lowest person. I'm the only one that survived stasis and the lowest person on the ship. And oh, by the way, the other person to survive was the second lowest ranked person on the ship. From the bottom, right? I'm your supervisor. Hey, my character cleaned the chicken noodle soup dispenser, because it only dispensed chicken noodle soup, and I'm your supervisor as a hologram. But yeah, it would be pretty hilarious to find that out, especially if someone really wants to embrace the absurdity of it. It's like, I'm Mr. Mysterious or something, and it's like, oh, here we go again. And then you come to realize, like, I was the lowest person on the ship. I got trapped on this ship because I accidentally fell into the cargo hold. It's that thing where a DHL packet ended up getting delivered by the regular mailman, just like you were talking about. Yes, I told you that. Yep. I told you. Under Siege 2, Dark Territory. There it is. Thank you. Under Siege 2, Dark Territory. And then, of course, Under Siege Gall? What a strange dude. What a really strange dude. Anyway, who's been accused of some pretty heinous things as well. But yeah, it's like anyway, musician, martial artist, police officer, monk. Oh, anyway, so what are some other things we can pull from dark matter? Again, with the television show, of course, we have our characters who've been exposed. There's like, for example, if we this show had a number of reoccurring characters and a number of guest stars, of course. Let me see if there's a what are some of our backgrounds of our characters? We have the de facto captain of the Raza and leader of the crew, both before and after the mind wipe. So maybe a character has very leadership skills. We have exiled heir to the throne of the principality of Zarion. We have the youngest member of the crew and the only one not wanted for capital crimes. We have a character that plays the android's creator, Dr. Arvena Shaw. We have a new crew member in the second season on the run from the rest of her people, known as the Seers. We have a disgraced doctor and new crew member in the second season. And of course, what's happening here is, and this is a great thing as well, when we have characters that kind of dip in and dip out, and we have to introduce new people, hey, maybe we find other stasis chambers. Some people have died. Other people they open the stasis chambers. Maybe there's some fear about opening more stasis chambers when our player characters are like, look, there's 6 of us, and we can't even get along with ourselves. Are we going to add number 7? Even though that person is woken, and maybe the person that wakes up is like, I guess I'm number 1. And they go, no, you're number 7. And they go, yeah, but in my chamber, I'm number 1. You guys woke up somewhere else, but amongst the people I just woke up with, I'm the new number 1. I'm going to call myself Uno. I'm going to call myself Prime or Alpha or, Pinnacle or something like that, right? And everyone's just like, yeah, but you're changing the dynamic. NPC, who is soon to be a player character who decided to join the game but can't stay in the game all the time. Also, one of the great things about having a starship is, especially if the characters can't control what it is, if we embrace the idea that, listen, hey, the game, the thing we're going to accept is you guys can't control where the ship is going. Maybe this has been part of the AI system that's supposed to tell us where it's going, or maybe one of the player character playing the android that's linked with the ship is also another game master who's like, hey, listen, guys, just accept the fact that we're going to go to different planets, different star systems, and hilarity ensues when we get there. And they go, oh, okay, I get it. In ICRPG by Runehammer, in his game, there's something known as the warp cell, warp seed, or whatever. In the sci-fi version of his like kind of throwback OSR, modern take on an OSR style game, and it's accepted in the sci-fi version of it. You play characters that are on a starship that warps to strange and unique and odd locations, and you just go, okay, that's the plot, that's the gimme, that's the please accept this. Now there might be a meta currency the players can acquire to be able to control when and where and how they leave. So maybe they get deposited somewhere. And like the role-playing game I'm working on, known as Obsidian Star, we have something known as orbits. And orbits are like a dramatic story change that may come around. And as the orbit clicks closer in segments of 3, 6, 9, and 12, that may be something like the players are like, you know what? This 6 clicking orbit is number 5. When number 6 comes around, that's when the rogue planet is going to slam into the moon that we're standing on. We need to get the hell out of here. And maybe the players need to earn, dilithium crystals or like a physical currency, or maybe there's some other kind of currency to earn to go, let's get it back in the starship and get the hell out of here before we all die. And, there was a gamma ray burst and we're all going to get irradiated, and it's going to destroy our DNA. We need to get out of here, and that kind of thing. And so fighting against a clock that is ticking time bomb of sorts, a real one or a fake one, an emotional one, a societal one, hey guys, we just disrupted this community's this isolated community's government, and now they're out to kill us because they realize that we're the ones that disrupted their peace. Let's get out of here. Well, I'm going to spend 3 points to three of my lithium crystals to put into the engine to get it to, I don't know, fold space again and stuff. Yeah, it's not a rogue planet, it's a woke planet. Yep, exactly. Yeah, you use my wrong gender pronouns, damn you. Right? And it's like, yeah, but I didn't know. And that kind of thing. Although I will admit, like, uh it's funny how people make a big deal about learning new things. It's like, I can't believe you're gonna make me learn something new. Really? Is your is your brain that small that you can't fit new information into it? I feel sorry for you. Um, yeah. That's why I hope yeah. So I said dichotomous thinking is like it's black or white or all or nothing. Yep, absolutely. And we all know shades of gray is life is just shades of gray. Lastly, that I can think of for dark matter in terms of characters. Now, once they awaken, one of the great things about, because you can only dangle mystery in front of people for so long, but once the characters awaken, meaning like they fully embrace their backgrounds, all the players are like, hey, I was in this for the mystery, now there's no mystery anymore. Now what can happen is, again, maybe there are other NPCs that are going through the same thing, and the players just roll their eyes like, oh shit, now we got to walk these other people, they're like little babies, now we got to walk them through it. Yeah, Dead Man's saying like it's a black or white thing, all or nothing. There now, it could be that the players, like the characters in Dark Matter, who realize like, do I embrace my evil side, but now I'm trying to be good? Do I go back to my criminal ways, even though I'm I'm looked at as someone honorable and trustworthy now? Um, I maybe in my past I actually hurt one of my own crew members, and neither one of us remembers it. But now that I'm remembering that I hurt them, they might start remembering that they want revenge on me, and that kind of situation could come up. But let's say they resolve all that. Now we've got to somehow we insert new individuals into it, and now our current player characters are like, okay, we might become we may remember some of the NPCs, or maybe we haven't really remembered everything of our past at all, because we might be tied in deeply with these new NPCs, and now we resolve the one mystery and open up the mystery box, and now there's an enigma inside of it, right? Yeah, inspired by the Public Enemy album, I now think we need a module for Obsidian Star called Fear of a Woke Planet. Ooh, with the yeah, with some kind of like oh, I don't know, like you the symbology from the cover of the album has like the uh the silhouette with the scope symbol on in the silhouette and something. We could do something like that. I think we could. I think we could. So we're at the end here. I'm letting you guys know that I'm changing an aspect of uh, of the Obsidian Star. What's I'm trying to think of the way to describe it. I'm changing some of the mechanism in Obsidian Star, and I want to let you guys know about it. Not, I thought it was going to be bigger than I wanted the changes to be, but it isn't going to be that big. But I think it makes a lot more sense. So this is a weird. I shouldn't be designing things this way, but I'm a visual person, and it's letting me see it in a different concept. So this is a character sheet, and I'm going to expose some things on the character sheet to let you know how it's changed, and then letting you know what about it is changing so that you understand how it's played. So let me get the link, and just because sometimes it just so you don't have to go searching for it or something like that. So here's the link to the file that I have. Sorry about that. So what I'm changing, hard segue off of dark matter. It's the end of the show anyway. So what I'm changing here is the art and science. So this is the art and science 2d12 system, and there's a light die and a dark die. Now, light and dark doesn't necessarily correspond to good or evil. Light represents safety, awareness, that kind of thing. Darkness is mystery. Darkness is we don't know what's going to happen. Darkness is I'm leaving it to chance. So how this is going to work with the dice, and you see over here for under method, there's not going to be a number any longer. Essentially, force, flex, and fulcrum correspond to which dice you want to roll. You can roll 2 dark dice, a dark and a light die, or 2 light dice. And you get to decide which ones you want to roll. If you roll a light die, one of the light die, a white die, that means whether you succeed or fail, there's going to be very limited, or if necessarily, it's going to be pass and fail. No partial successes, no yes, no, if, and, or buts about it. It's, I want to pick the lock. I don't really want to have too many complications. I just want to open the door up. I'm going to roll 2 white dice. If you roll a black die, success and failure is going to be more than just a little bit. Success means you might succeed and get something else. I want to open up the door. I'm going to pick the lock, but I also hope I get something more from this. Maybe if you pick the lock and you succeed, you don't have to roll to pick another lock. This lock that's got the, I don't know, crimson code on it, any crimson code from now on, you just get to be able to pick the lock because you succeeded in it. I decided to roll a dark die. But if you fail, maybe the alarm goes off. Maybe a silent alarm goes off. Maybe the plugin that you use to try to open up the door breaks and the system locks down, and now you can't use that code to break doors any longer. Now, or your mechanism, your machine breaks or something like that. It gets burned out or whatever. So that's how your method of choice. Of course, force goes first, flex goes second, fulcrum goes third. So you could tell here, force is very like seat of the pants. I'm just gonna go for it. I hope to get something better. Unfortunately, if I fail, something more horrible might happen to me. Flex is kind of measured like a little bit like it might not be good, it might not be bad, it might just be a change in what happens. And then fulcrum is like, I'm really trying to be a little bit safe, a little more careful, a little bit more practice. So that's one part of it. What do you guys have to say? The End King says, to the point where they take having a dream literally, try to make aspirations illegal. Ooh, making aspirations illegal. I like that as a concept. Fear of a woke planet. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, like they think the harsh reality of life is all there should be, to tie in the dichotomous thinking idea. I like that too. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm a huge proponent of post-humanism. If we have the technology to make having a dream or certain aspirations illegal, that could be possible. That's a possibility. Okay, so we still have our approaches, and we're still going to use the approaches. We're still going to use rolling 2 dice. It's your stats are still going to go between 1 and 12. Technically, it's technically 2 to 10. But anyway, over here we have a focus list, and I was going to call it tools, but a focus is something you pick kind of like a character class, but you'll be able to pick 1 or 2 of these based on like the jacket you're in and your mind and things like that. So and your focus is kind of like your special ability. It's in science fiction it would be similar to like a feat or a magical ability or something of that nature. And so that's what that is. I think I may change elemental to uncivilized, but I'm not sure yet. And there's a list. Okay, here's another part of the character sheet. We have this little gear, hex gear. a nut and bolt basically, and you're going to check mark those if you have armor, and if you have armor, and I'm going to show you something else. Here in your core, you have your core conviction and your focus, and you'll just write your focus down in here. Again, this is a natural language game, so the way the character sheet is designed, you're going to fill in these hexes with natural language. This is going to be your gear, your traits on your character sheet. You could put in a laser rifle. You might put in lock picking. You may put in mountain climber. You may put in I don't know, member of the Black Sabers. You could put in, you know, owner of stock in a corporation. And whenever you roll the dice and one of those attributes, one of your pieces of gear applies, you get a +1 for that thing that you wrote in it. And in the corner here, we have a little nut and bolt, and that's going to be related to your armor. So armor comes in light, medium, and heavy. So you'll have 1, 2, or 3 layers of armor. And the natural way to describe this is that armor, actually, I'll leave the image of the armor here. So armor protects the pockets where you stash your gear. If that makes sense, right? So armor protects your traits. So when you have armor, let's say this individual character has 1 level of armor. So you just check mark it here, and you'll just check mark this. So now this part of your character sheet is armored up, which means that when you suffer loss, and when you suffer loss, you mark off your traits. This is protected. You don't lose that whatever in that part. So if you wrote down lockpicking and you suffer loss, which is damage, your armor protects you there. You're not going to lose that trait because it is armored up. So mind you, you see there's 3 spaces. So anything that's 3 or less, you just ignore it, and you won't lose those traits. But if it's over 3, like sundering a shield in fantasy games, it doesn't matter how much damage you take. You can sacrifice it, your armor layer, and you suffer nothing. And then that means you're no longer armored, and then your traits are now vulnerable to being removed through loss. But as long as it's armored, you can keep using it, and you don't suffer any loss from it. So that means, like, let's say your character has lockpicking and blaster rifle and mountain climbing as traits written in here. That means that despite you suffering losses, you can still use those traits. Remember, each time you write something in here, it acts like 1 hit point. And so when you suffer, if you suffer 4 points of damage or loss, you will temporarily strike out 4 of your traits. You no longer have them. So everything you're about is what your hit points are. The Black Sabers, yeah, baby, they're back. And remember, Drew, loss doesn't happen through combat, even though a lot of role-playing games are about that. 2 characters, one could be in a protracted battle with robots, and another character could be having a family discussion during a holiday season. Both characters roll the same dice and might have the exact same difficulty overcoming their situation, and both characters can suffer the same amount of loss, win-loss. If the difficulty fighting robots is a 7 and having a family get together, rare though on Mars, but you did, and you're having these discussions, both of those difficulties could be 7, and both characters can come away from it pretty traumatized from it, from that experience. Both of them could lose their blaster rifle, mountain climbing, and lock-picking skills from those interactions. Why can't you pick the lock? I'm distracted. The things my brother said to me and my mom. She's got so many expectations. Damn it, I'm distracted. Well, get your mind back in the game, right? It's the exact same thing, right? You know, the giant robot hunter and the person having family issues is like they both suffer the same things. So that's how that's going to work. No, your methods no longer are going to have a numerical value. Basically, you're just picking dice. 2 black dice, a black and a white die, or the white dice. And if you roll a dark die, you're giving the game master permission to complicate your life. And that's where the yes, no, and or buts come from. I know I say that. I'm going to end up ordering a T-shirt. There's just one big long line across the front that says yes, no, if, and or buts. It's partial success. So when um, players can choose to engage in the partial successes, knowing that it's going to complicate their lives, but if they're using force to get something done, that means they also want to get it done quickly. They want to act first, and they're just like, listen, this is what we need to go into this. I don't have any issues. I understand that there might be some side effects. So that's what that's about. So dark dice give the game master permission to complicate your life. So does that mean in combat? Does that mean there are going to be reinforcements drawn in? Does that mean alarms will go off? Does that mean your gun jams or you run out of ammo? Does that mean an errant blaster bolt blasts open an airlock door? Does that mean I don't know, the bulkhead, nitrogen gas or electrical conduits come undone, and there's like electrical wiring that you have to watch out for? Like, does that complicate your life? Yes. How about socially? Maybe someone, an NPC overhears your conversation and turns you in. Maybe the guards change and you thought there were only 3 guards, but now there's 12 because the head guard is training a new group during their shift, and now you have to worry about more dangers. Maybe that lock picking tool, you dropped it or it burns out, or unfortunately, not only did you not open the door, but a secondary blast door drops down and now it's doubly locked. Something like that. So complicating your life, and players will get to choose whether they want to complicate their lives or not. And so some players really don't like the idea of needing to come to the game with mental energy to spend on always being creative about the outcome of the dice roll. Some people just want to pass fail, and so players can choose that and be safe in doing so and not be punished for it so much. Although you could claim there's a punishment for acting last if they want to roll 2 light dice, but I would dare say if you're the kind of player that doesn't want to be in that kind of danger, you're also being very careful as well. So players can get to choose force, flex, or fulcrum, and that's which color dice. And again, here we go: 2d12 art and science role-playing game. Light equals safe, dark equals risk, and risk plus reward, and approaches equal roll high, not over your stat. So in the beginning, the stats are probably going to be number 4. So you'll have 12 points, and you divide them. I didn't put it on the character sheet, but you'll get 12 points. You can divide them between 3 of your approaches that you're good at. The others will be ranked at 2, and then as character advancement goes in, you can raise up the ones you're good at, raise up the ones you're bad at, and then when characters die, you cross off an approach, you cross off one of your convictions, and you start your character differently. So, and at a certain point of character death, at a certain point, you're going to reduce the number of approaches to solve issues to the point where your character is always careful or always focused or always wild. And things like that. So sorry. Anyway, just wanted to show that to you. And is there anything new in the document? Going to have to go in and change a bunch of these. I have to respond. There's a bunch of Dead Man's things that I haven't resolved yet. Conundrums. I think there's something else that last thing. Here's the list of baggages. I'm probably going to have to write down some narrative and mechanical effects of how you get rid of these baggages. So characters will be able to shunt off damage by being able to pick baggage instead. And baggage is physical things like physical things that happen to your character. There's mental things that can happen to your character, and then social things that can happen to your character. Although, honestly, socially, I would think tongue-tied should be over on the other side, but whatever. And okay, you guys get the point. And the baggage system takes the spot of your gear. And so when you roll doubles, but you fail on a check, but you roll doubles, you're just going to automatically acquire baggage. Or you can choose up to 3 times in a particular scene. Oh, damn, I'm going to suffer 9 points of damage. That means I got to mark off 9 traits off my character. I'd rather take some baggage instead. And so, yeah. And sometimes that baggage will linger, and it's easier to get rid of the baggage with your fellow player characters than yourself. I think I'm going to change the word burning to cauterized, but maybe you're on fire instead of having been on fire. I don't know. Anyway, this lost damage matrix, I'm going to get rid of that because I needed some place to put the information. Of course, we have our convictions. It's kind of like alignment, a little more proactive, but kind of like alignment. Here's how pockets work. Here's a physical representation of how pockets work. So these 3 things are gear. Loss means you mark something off. Baggage means you mark something off, and in place of marking something off, you also write down what the baggage is, and you carry it around with you. Languages, I did modify the languages there, Drew. Dead Man came with some ideas too. I didn't finish that up. Different types of people that live in the world, NPCs types. Gun prawn. Here's an image of some starships. This one is a little bit outside the purview. Most of the starships are like built like tall buildings because of constant acceleration, but those are the free ones I could come up with. And I got to change all these rules here on the singularity system. So, yep. And Dead Man, see how he put some marks down there? Boop, 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 boop. And then we have Obsidian Star, a little intro to the game. Oops. So, guys, thank you very much for letting me. Drew's like, DBJ's on fire. Yeah. Cost-wise, it costs like 30 cents per die to make D12. So you could sell a set for $5 and make a killing at it. Where is this 30 cents per die you speak of? Please give that to me, because I did some searches and I was just like, I want to put like custom symbols on it, and I don't know. Drew says, even though I like it, I think having 4 D12, 2 per color, might be a little much for a player. Okay, I hear you on that. I do hear you on that. But what is this 30 cents per die you speak of? I want to know that. Please, some way, send me a link about that, like where you found that. Custom dice. Now, mind you, just black and white dice are probably a whole lot cheaper. But if I could get a little symbol on them, that'd be kind of cool. Like, where's the symbol at? Oh, it's on the character sheet. Sorry, I'm going to do a big sweeping zoo on the character sheet here. There we go. There it is. And right there is the black and white symbol. And over here in the corner, let's see. Sorry, I'm a bit of a Luddite. There we go. There's the Obsidian Star symbol, and I have this in various shades, black, white, and reds of the different, like a red circle or like a red star and a white and a black star and a black star. Like I have different versions of this, this very symbol. But yeah, I would put that on the D12. So I don't know. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being part of the show. Really appreciate it. If you've been here this long, please like, share, subscribe. Let people know about it. Come up with some ideas as well. And we will be stopping the, hey, this weird, odd television show nobody watched is the subject of our show. And just a reminder, tonight I will be on the Heath's Geekverse Table Talk channel. He's got 2 channels. For the opening of the Heroine's Labyrinth book, and to talk about that from my point of view as a consummate tabletop role-playing game individual and creator. I like doing those kind of things. And also Cool Name goes here, Cool Name RPG, and the design elements of that is coming together with creating modus operandi and spells and the die rolling and things like that, and how we confront different kinds of challenges. And so this just cool name is going to be kind of cool. And because I'm one of the designers and the game's going to be given away, I'm also thinking about designing my own game with cool name goes here, because that's the whole point of having cool name goes here. So yeah. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for being part of the show. I'm going to take you out. Again, please, guys, be creative. Don't be destructive. Create, don't destroy. Create new things, new experiences, new elements in your world that bring more light. Whether, yeah. Speaking of custom dice, Heath has some experience in that area. Thank you, and Anon. I'm going to have a conversation with him. I don't know if I'll talk about that on air, but off air, I'll talk with him about that, about making custom dice and how much I'd have to order and things like that. I mean, I have some disposable income, so I would probably do it at cost. So however much it costs me to get it, it would be to mail it out to you guys. It would be like delivery charge plus, I don't know, $4.50 or delivery charge, American US, or I'd probably do it for free, but I don't know. I don't want to be an accountant. In the tabletop role-playing community, some of us are like, I want to design role-playing games and sell them and be successful. And it's like, sure, that means you really don't want to design role-playing games. What you really want to do is become a marketer and an accountant and a layout artist and an editor and a writer and that's what you really want to be if you want to design role-playing games. It's horrible. So I don't want to be any of those things. I just want to create. So as free and trouble-free as I can do something, that's what I'm going to do. Guys, have a great one. We are going to take ourselves out with a little bit of Obsidian Star and some dramatic music. Peace and tranquility.